I mean, sometimes this is how your day goes out on the water. You're kicking back, relaxing, enjoying the finer things in life, sipping champagne and eating caviar, thinking you've got it all figured out in life. Only to be reminded that there is always somebody a little bigger, a little badder, and a little faster out there on the water to kind of wake you up and put you into a reality check, kind of like this crew found out just a couple weeks ago as they were out there enjoying a day on the water when all of a sudden a bigger yacht decided, move out of my way, and came on through. Unfortunately, some damage was caused in this one, but everybody was okay, just like some of the wild scenes we'll see in this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first story to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Canada, where this was the scene just a little over a week ago as storms ripped through British Columbia, with some local weather stations recording wind gusts of over 100 miles an hour as the storms ripped through. Here we can see the damage being caused as the storm works through the area. Reportedly, the wind and the water wound up causing severe damage to vessels and docks. It's reported that as many as 14 boats sunk during this storm as it rolled across. But this one should serve as a reminder to anybody who keeps their boat out there on the water. If you keep it out on the water, every time you leave that vessel, you should secure that boat like something like this is going to happen. That way, if a storm does roll through quickly on you and unexpectedly, at least your boat should be secure. And it will definitely increase the chances of you returning and your boat still being there after a storm like this goes by. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to bring us back stateside and take us over to Massachusetts, where this was the scene just a few days ago when 5 people had to be rescued by the Coast Guard off the Merrimack River jetty as storms and tide came in and wound up trapping them on the jetty where they could not get back to the mainland. The Coast Guard released a statement claiming that the crews that were stationed at U.S. Coast Guard Merrimack Station actually saw the group out on the jetty. After a few hours, they realized the group had become trapped and could no longer get back to the mainland. The Coast Guard dispatched a 47-foot lifeboat to the scene, but quickly realized as they tried to assess the situation, there was no safe way to get the 5 people off the jetty and onto the boat, and a Coast Guard rescue helicopter was also dispatched to the scene. Fortunately, in this situation, with the help of the Coast Guard, all 5 people were individually plucked off the jetty and brought back to safety without injury. But this is becoming a common scene. I think we had this one last week as well, where some people got stuck out there. If you're going out fishing on a jetty, make sure to check the weather and the tide before you go. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Bangladesh, where this was the scene also just a few days ago when 2 vessels wound up colliding at the outer anchorage of Chattogram Port. The collision occurred in the afternoon at the Alpha anchorage when a fertilizer vessel wound up striking a ship that was carrying lentils. According to a report issued by the Chattogram Port Authority, the Liberian-flagged MV Friendly Island was anchored and unloading lentils at the Alpha anchorage when, as seen in these images here, the Panamanian flagship Navio Celestial, which was carrying fertilizer at the time, wound up in reverse and backing into the MV Friendly Island, causing the Celestial's propellers to eventually get stuck on the vessel that it collided with. According to that report from the Chattogram Port Authority, the ships were eventually able to get freed with the 2 captains working together, and fortunately in this situation, no injuries were reported. But there is an inquiry being opened at this time to try and determine the actual cause of the incident. But one thing's for sure, this crew got kind of a wild ride. And speaking of wild rides, do you enjoy rides in amusement parks? If so, we have started a new channel called Parks Guru. Please be sure to check that out. I'll leave a video on the end screen and a link above. And of course, there's a face reveal on that channel because I'm actually on the camera. But thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Nick Ironfield, Adam Coolidge, Sean Riversdale, Robert Leeds, and Merrimack Riverboats did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here and be sure to check out the new channel.